Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. It is still Minor League Esports, still presented by APM Music, and it's still Leechy, but I'm joined by a new, familiar, older face. It's Maple. Hello, my dear. It's been a very long time. How have you been?
Leechy, I love it when you say such nice things, and speaking of older, you still look older than me, but here we are, my friend, and I am so excited. I'm just kidding. I look way older with all the white and the beard and everything else.
That's exactly what I was going to go to. I was like, my beard is like jet black, my friend. I have no idea what you're talking about.
Listen, I still have more hair than you on top, though, and so there's that.
That's true. I distract with the little cowboy hat on top.
I love it. I don't know if you saw it earlier, but I did have comments about your little cowboy hat.
Oh, that's adorable. Thank you. I appreciate it.
That and I talked about Pandy's toupee. I mean hair. So yeah.
From comments to Comets, it is the Comets going up against the Bears. See what I did there in the conference final. On their side of their bracket, it is the Champion League doubles conference final between the Bears and the Comets. Statistically, I was looking at numbers beforehand, as I am wont to do, and it's a little bit tighter between these two teams. So throughout the regular season, Comets 32-18, Bears 29-21. Only a 3-game difference between these two teams, and the versus winning teams and versus losing teams are honestly close enough that it doesn't really bear repeating it or mentioning in the first place. This is going to be a knockdown, drag-out fight.
I could not agree more with you. When I look at the stats between the teams, you've got 215 cell players on both sides. You know, the Sprocket ratings are fairly close, although I will say that Bell has a higher rating. This game looks to be exciting, but the first goal already, wow.
Yeah, didn't take too long. I think it only took like 6 seconds for the opening goal of the first series tonight. Why not cut that in half? 3 to 2 and change seconds for this one, courtesy of eDartE. And it is 1-0 for these lovely pink Comets, that cotton candy team in pink, represented by eDartE and Bell, going up against the Bears in that deep, rich blue, represented by Flips and Zona. eDartE wasn't done scoring, so why not knock a second one back there?
I mean, yeah, apparently, a little backflip there, unfortunately, and that is the reason that happened. But, man, 2-0 already. We're only literally 13 seconds into the game. So this one, I mean, I thought it was going to be close. Stats-wise, it looks close, but, hey, look out, because our man Sky Guy decides to bring it back within 1.
I think we are already looking at but if the scoring rate keeps up at what it is, we may be looking at an MLE record. Unfortunate touch there. Now, I will say it was probably difficult to tell with that angle, but that initial touch off of the Bears player was not headed goalward. It was close and may have bounced off the post, but it was definitely going out, and unfortunate that the Comets player decided to assist that in just a little bit, but no big deal. Still very, very early on in the series. Great positioning by Zona to get that save. Flips working with the boost, or rather very low boost, and that one knocked out mid. That one's dangerous by Bell. Great save by Flips, scrambling back just in time to get that one.
eDartE now coming in with a big demo, and Bell coming in and punching it in just behind Flips, and that was Zona, and able to get that goal. Oh my goodness.
Wow.
I can't believe it. Like, the Comets are absolutely on fire.
Yes, signaling their intent for this series very, very early on. We're just coming across the first 60 seconds of game 1, meaning, necessarily the series. Bell, great save across the face of goal. And there have already been 4 goals scored, the majority of them coming from the Comets. These guys mean business.
They absolutely mean business. Bell puts it up there. Zona, though, able to get it out. A quick clearance, but Bell's going to try and keep it in the offensive zone. Bell has the ball, has some control. Good defensive play there, though. eDartE moving away from the play a little bit. Zona's going to take control now and try and keep possession. Flips almost gets that header, but not quite able. Zona, more pressure. Great play there by Bell. And now the Comets have control of the ball. And it looks like they're going to get a goal off of yet another demo.
Look at this ball control as well. So the demo you hear off the left side, Bell, excellent flick, and then no one there. I think who was at Flips was busy spawning on the right side, so no hope of getting there in time. 4-1 for the Comets. Bears are shell-shocked, and we're just passing now the 2-minute mark in terms of time that has gone by in this match. Comets are absolutely on fire. I wonder now if this is going to be something that they'll be able to keep up. Usually, like more often than not, you see this attacking momentum start to fizzle out at some point in the series. Comets will be hoping that that's probably later towards game 3 or game 4. Bears are hoping this is probably the one and only time they see this level of attacking aggression.
Well, and I mean, the Bears are going to have to adjust, right? That's ultimately what takes a little while often, is the other team does adjust. When you're playing well, when you're doing really well, there's no reason to really change anything. And so I'd just be curious to see what's going to happen in the future as Bell slots another goal in, and it's 5-1 and still about half the game left to go.
I kind of lost track of where the Bears were. Yeah, Zona all the way out towards that left side. I don't know, just must have been caught in two minds in terms of rotation, how to deal with that situation. Whatever it was, resulting in a 5-1 lead for the Comets, and at this point, the Bears kind of need to pick themselves up off the ground, you know, call this one a write-off. Game 1 is very much, I would say, outside of their reach. They need to figure out how to deal with the Comets from game 2 onwards. Very close to getting a second one on the board, but Idardi looking to almost get this past Flips, but standing tall on defense. This one just kind of bouncing harmlessly across the midfield line. Bell, another flick opportunity, does get it past one, but not on target, and Flips will see this one out clear. Yeah, like I said, for the Bears, back to the drawing board, because game 1 is definitely done and dusted at this point.
Yeah, I agree with you that this game is going to be done and dusted. Even if the Bears are able to pick up a couple, I just don't see them getting 4, especially with the aggressiveness that we're seeing out of the Comets. But there is an opportunity for them to see if they can kind of solve the Comets, so to speak, by slowing them down a little bit on the goal scoring, but also slowing them down on the pitch. Because I think the speed of the Comets is part of what seems to be confusing the Bears a bit. Is not only are they moving quicker, but their positioning has them in place faster as well.
Coming back down, Flips as Zona looks for some kind of a bump clearance and gets it. All right, so that's the Bears on the board for a second one. Well done. I really don't think they'll be able to build with this for the rest of game 1, but at the very least, Rocket League in general is very much momentum-based, and the good thing about MLE and our structure is that we have an entire series to play. So yes, even though it may very likely mean the loss of, unfortunate, Etardy will want that one back. It very likely is looking like the loss of game 1. If they can get at least 1 or 2 more on the board, then even going into game 2, momentum is still on their side. Maybe not quite as much as if they had won the series, but it is what it is. There is the second one in a row. Flips now makes it a 3-5 scoreline, and I guess nothing's impossible. I'm still not going to say that the comeback is happening, but the momentum is definitely looking a little bit better for the Bears right now.
Yeah, the momentum has shifted in favor of the Bears. I mean, first of all, the first thing they had to do was stop the bleeding, right? So they stopped the Comets from scoring. There was about a minute or a minute and a half where we really didn't see any goals, and now they've been able to turn it around and get some goals for themselves. Here we see Zona going up. It was a nice shot. God. 18 seconds is more than enough time, Leachy, to get another goal and tie it up as Zona... Great little pass off the crossbar. Definitely not intended to be. But here's the thing. 3 unanswered goals in about the last minute and a half. They could do it. We might eat our words here, Leachy.
Well, let's see. Let's see. About 15 seconds left here. Bears need to build big. That one is on target, requiring a very acrobatic save, super high up into the air. Zona trying to catch this out of the corner. That one actually may act as a pass towards the teammate, not quite. Bell sees this one clear. Still going the way of the Comets. The Bears can keep this alive as long as they keep it in the air. Can't touch the ground. Unfortunately, Zona loses control. Okay, Comets can breathe a sigh of relief. They do still take game one, but I think unequivocally the momentum is on the side of the Bears at this point, because that was that was an early surge from the Comets, and Maple, maybe you have a little bit more insight on this. Do you think the late game surge from the Bears was more about the Bears just igniting all of a sudden, or was it more of the Comets like taking their foot off the gas?
You know what, it's tough to say. I think that what we saw was the Bears making a few adjustments. They were being more aggressive. They were bumping and demoing more, and they were taking shots. They were keeping possession, not just throwing that ball away. They were able to get some boost. So I think it forced the Comets to play a little bit differently. When I looked at this, when it was 5-1, and I looked at some of the stats that we were looking at, there were 6 shots for the Comets and only 1 for the Bears, or 2 for the Bears, sorry. We're looking now at 9 shots for the Comets, but 10 shots for the Bears. Huge shift in momentum, and I think that really played well for the Bears. They definitely adjusted. Now I'm curious to see, can Bell and E get back into the groove that they started, or are the Bears going to be able to keep this momentum going forward? We'll find out here shortly as we proceed into game number 2.
Game number 2, indeed. Neo Tokyo is the destination for traditional game 2 spot. Let's get this kicked off. 5 minutes on the clock between the Comets and the Bears. Early surge from the Comets in game 1, early goal from the Comets in game 2, in pretty much the exact same amount of time.
3 seconds. It is the exact same amount of time. We don't go down to milliseconds, thank goodness. But yeah, I mean, that's 2 goals in the first 3 seconds of the game. Listen, I mean, it doesn't necessarily mean anything. It means that they've got a good kickoff, but there you go. So Bell now has control of the ball, but quick and up is what they are going to have to continue to do. And Flips is there, gets that ball, puts it out to the side. Zona, great save, able to push it out a little bit. And there's Bell pushing. Flips is now pushing. There's a lot of pushing and shoving going on. But these players now look to be taking this game to the air. And I think that might favor the Comets.
Darty having the ball taken over his head, and Bell is going to have to control this a little awkwardly in the corner. Ooh, bad angle to come into that one. Free Darty, luckily, I can't believe I'm saying this, but luckily just gets demoed and is removed from that dangerous situation relatively quickly. Bell missing that touch on the wall, allowing Flips to get a powerful touch with that Dominus. Knock it back into the Comets half, but only temporarily. Comets are already knocking on the door of the Bears yet again. And the second I say that, Zona looking for that infield pass midfield. Does find Flips, but unfortunately found Bell as well. Off that side well. Flips won't get up to this one. Knew he was beaten by E in the air, and all of a sudden, this one could be dangerous for the Bears if Flips can't get his act together.
Oh.
That is unfortunate. Goal number 2 for the Comets looked almost completely unchallenged.
Well, it was actually, and this is what I was going to point out here, or sorry, what I was thinking about while we were chatting, what I was thinking about.
Try it again.
Words are hard for me today. No, it's what I was thinking about is that I'm noticing that the Comets are challenging everything often and early, and that was something that the Bears were doing when they started their comeback run in the last game, and it's like they slowed back down again. They're kind of waiting for the ball to come. Just like that, Zona does not go up to meet the ball, but instead goes, it's going to go off the backboard, I think, so I'll just leave it and then I'll follow it. Get up there and be the first person to contact that ball. Do not play to the other team. Play your game and force that team to play to you.
3-0 deficit for the Bears to overcome. They're definitely good enough to overcome it. They've gotten this far, for Pete's sake. And that, oh man, the goal number 4, a little bit of chaos on the goal line for the Bears, and the Comets will take advantage of that all day long. Zona not making contact, neither did Flips, and E is like, thank you very much. I will score probably the easiest goal I've had all season. 4-0, 3 minutes for the Bears to claw it back, but 4 goals is a tough ask.
Well, I mean, they did it in the last game, but anything more than this, and I don't think they're going to be able to do it. The other thing is they're going to have to completely change how they're playing. This is the thing. First person up to that ball, and the Bears just slow to get to it.
It's mid. Darty. Off the ceiling. Will beat Zona to it, unfortunately. Ball is slightly off target. But that's fine. At this point, they've got that 4-goal cushion. They don't need necessarily, I mean, obviously it's nice to put all shots on target, just like Bell does, with teammate Edarty clearing the way with that offensive bump just past the stroke of halftime. 5 goals in favor of the Comets, and the Bears have nothing to show for it. But we were in a very similar situation, as you mentioned earlier, in Game 1. So there's precedent for the Bears coming back. It's never a good position to be in. Like, initially, you never put yourself in that position in the first place, and then theoretically, your job gets significantly easier throughout the rest of the series.
Well, that's just it. And it's weird because what we're seeing is like Flips, who generally his mechanics are quite good, is making mechanical errors and things I don't expect him to make. I mean, even Zona's usually really well known for good passes and such, and we're not necessarily seeing that as much this game anyways. We saw it last game. We saw them come back, but as the clock dwindles down and we're down to less than 2 minutes, I'm not quite sure that the Bears are going to be able to bring this back. So, like last game, I hope they can at least get some momentum and maybe swing it in their favor, but the Comets are doing a fantastic job of just kind of playing around them.
Let's see how they handle this situation now. Player down. Flips opting not to go off the sidewall. It's fine, leaving Zona on the back wall to deal with it. And all of a sudden, counterattack opportunity if Flips can get his car on the ball. Turn it into a pass slightly behind Zona, almost on target. Flips coming in. A lot of pace, but unfortunately the defender, those pesky defense, always in the way at the worst of times. Minute to go, and that is 6 goals now, courtesy of Bell. Comets taking game 2, no problem.
Yeah, without a doubt. You know, I don't know if it was that they got so deflated because they didn't end up executing on the comeback in the last game, but I feel like we're watching the Bears back at the very beginning of game 1 again, and we're not watching the different Bears. It's almost like Jekyll and Hyde here, where we're seeing 2 very different teams, but the same teams, if that makes sense.
Unfortunately, it does make sense. Yeah. And the reason I'm saying unfortunately is because this game 1, the score line of game 1, maybe not how game 1 actually played out on the pitch, but the score line of game 1 is what we were kind of expecting from the offset. Edarty making it 7. We were expecting it to be kind of 1-goal differences all throughout the series. Game 2 is a completely different story, and I'm really interested to see if the Bears are able to kind of dust themselves off and pick themselves back up after this, because it was a very good showing of mental fortitude to come back as close as they did in game 1, and that has gone out the window in game 2. So I'm hoping for their sake, for the players' mentality's sake, that they're able to dig deep enough to make something work. Great save there across there from Edarty. It won't make much of a difference here. Final 5 seconds and change. Comets a commanding game 2 win, and the ball is very firmly in the Bears' court at this point. The Comets need to change absolutely nothing.
Absolutely nothing. The Comets are challenging quickly. They're getting to the ball first. They're touching the ball with purpose, moving it forward up the pitch, moving it laterally across the pitch where the other teammate is. I have to assume at this point the Bears are very down, and their confidence is shot. They're not feeling good. They're probably pissed off. They might be very quiet and calms that, or they're getting frustrated with each other. The only thing I hope they can do and take out of this, in order to make this a more competitive and a good series for everybody out here who's watching, is I hope the Bears can go, okay, we need to put these 2 games behind us. We absolutely need to focus on communicating well, making sure that we're not just whiffing on the balls, but getting back to basics. Let's hurry up, go faster, get those touches, and let's keep that ball moving in the other direction away from our net. You know, I know it sounds crazy. Yes, it's easy to say. That's what we're here for. I think that it is a fairly simple way, or a fairly simple path for them to be more competitive is what I talked about.
Back to basics. You said it a second ago. I fully agree. I think they need to kind of break things down and bring it back to fundamentals. Take it one play at a time, or one goal at a time, rather. Just kind of, you in these situations, you need to not worry about the bigger picture. Just focus on the kind of minute-to-minute experience and focus on the things that you can control. Yes, exactly. The Comets are great, but the Bears are equally great. They just need to be able to focus enough on what they are doing to show that.
Absolutely agree with you, Leachy. I couldn't agree more. You know what? You got to trust yourself, have some confidence, and you will get back into it, right? I mean, already there wasn't a goal scored in the first 3 seconds of the game by the Comets. I mean, it's
game changer.
It's already a vast improvement. But this is a good example. Zone is there. Turrets challenges that ball. In the past, we've seen that the Bears kind of just let it go. So here they seem to be moving with more pace, and that's what we need. Oh, that was almost there, but there you go. Like, Flips actually was able to get a good attempt on.
Yeah, this is looking good. Now finally the Comets are able to build from the back, but they were held. Ooh, that's dangerous. Awkward position.
Hard, yeah.
I think that was Flips there right in front of the goal line. That's really difficult to deal with, especially when you're backwards, but that's okay. I know that sounds crazy. They just got scored on. That's okay, because this was still a sign of vast improvement in Game 3. They were keeping the Comets pinned back in their own half. They just, they need to find a little bit more consistency with being able to maintain their own boost levels, but the Comets were very, very low on boost during that early barrage. So if they can just, easy for me to say, work themselves into that situation a couple more times, I think they're destined for success. But again, easy for me to say, I'm not the one out on the pitch. I'm not the one having to deal with the mental situation right now.
No, but we have been there. We have been on the pitch, both of us. I mean, you're above this level. You are on the pitch, but you know what? Flips ties that game up. Entirely different game. We haven't had a tie game yet. Right?
We came one goal away from having a tie game in Game 1, and we were so close. But there we go. Good beat from Flips. Hopefully that was, a bit of a momentum swing in the VC between the two players. And we'll see how this one shapes out. I think if Bears get one more on the bounce, things are going to look a lot healthier for them. They need to make it happen. I'm hoping for their sake that the Comets are, I wouldn't say rattled, especially not as goal number 2 for the Comets goes in, but at the very least kind of rethinking how open they're able to leave their back line.
Yes, absolutely. Look, I know this just happened. The timing's not great. We're talking about the Bears needing to get another goal, maybe even take a lead. But, again, you're going to get scored on. This is Rocket League. It happens, right? It's the ability to improve, or the ability to not get rattled by it. That was so close. Mechanical beauty there by Flips, and he almost gets rewarded for that hard work. And I hope that they do, honestly. Like, it's I don't have any skin in this game. I'm not necessarily cheering for one team or another, but I'd like to cheer for more games than just 4. And I don't want to see a sweep. I prefer to see some more competition. Oh, that was a really nice kind of lob out there by Flips, but didn't really get anything for it, and now he's got no boost, so him and Zona are forced to retreat. Zona's going to grab some boost there. E.E gets beat in the corner. Zona's there, but not really facing the right way. Flips, gets it in, gets it up on net, gets it pretty close. Bell has to be up for this, and that's where I'd like to see the Bears challenging more. Is I don't think we're necessarily seeing the Bears challenge enough, especially not on plays that could end up turning into them scoring.
Good banger out there. Clearance by Zona. Could make this one work. It does. Self-pass off the back wall. stayed on the ground. It didn't need to be fancy enough. Sometimes good enough is good enough. All right,
Well,
Bears back in it yet again. And man, it is now even more crucial than the first time that I mentioned it. I really want to see the Bears get 2 in a row because they have yet to be in the lead in this series. It's very similar to the series, the PL series that we saw earlier tonight. The Bears have been on the back foot, albeit I would say more unexpectedly, given the numbers that we were looking at coming into the series. But listen, people have good days, people have bad days, and this is what the play styles are looking like coming into tonight, and that's the Bears' issue to deal with. I really hope they're able to get a second one, but the Comets are as good as they are for a reason. Although this one is a slightly favorable touch, but Edarty knocking this into the corner, and Bell should see this clear relatively safely.
Flips, able to get that ball out. Now the ball is up in the air. Good push to the side by Bell, but Flips still has the ball. Going to try and get it out to Zona, but Edart able to get it in to the Bears end, and now it's a 2v1. Really good play there as Edart was trying to get a demo and clear the net out.
Flips looking for the flick over Bell. I like the Comets move here, just keeping it in the corner. It doesn't necessarily need to be on target all the time, but at least keeping it in the Bears' half so that they feel like their backs are up against the wall. Bear now looking to build out and has no support and gets removed. Great demo indeed by Zona. Flips trying to carry it over the halfway line. Can't beat Edarty. That one knocked up high. Final 10 seconds. Could we head into the first overtime of this series? Time will tell. Counting down. That one is very dangerous. That was not the move from Flips. I am very sad to see that. If we just stayed on the ground, I think that would have been a little bit of a safer move, but the Comets profit, and now it is 3-0. The Bears' backs are up against the wall for the rest of this series. They cannot afford a single game loss because that is done for them. That's the best Bears team we've seen all night, and then to have it thrown away like that is such a disappointment.
Absolutely a huge disappointment, in fact. And I know that, they worked hard. Zona and Flips absolutely worked hard this time to try and get that victory. And frankly, I felt like they were probably deserving of it. But at the end, what happens? Someone kind of tries to be fancy or do whatever they need to do. And look what happens, right? We have a goal against. The Comets make no mistake, and they take absolute advantage. And in that game, the only time I saw the Comets score was taking advantage of an opportunity or getting to the ball first. In most cases, the Bears actually were getting to the balls first. They were back to basics again, right? That shot from Zona that we saw that he put in, passes it to himself off the backboard, nothing fancy, just puts it in, is first to the ball and gets it there. More of that, the Bears are going to be able to win, but now it's a must-win situation. No more playing around.
No more playing around. Couldn't have said it better myself. Game 4, and as I had mentioned before, backs up against the wall. We will have to see how this one works out as we kind of figure out what the Bears' game plan is. I think, like I said, that was the best Bears that we've seen all evening. And yeah, it was just that singular moment of uncertainty with how to deal with that incoming ball that led to the situation that we have now. So as game 4 kicks off about 10 seconds prior, it is all to do for the Bears. The Comets are sitting pretty. They have a 3-game cushion, not a 3-goal cushion. 3 games they can afford to lose. So they are absolutely in the more luxurious position out of these two teams. So the Bears are having to basically dig deeper than they ever have this entire season, because a loss here, or rather the result of this game, will be the difference between continuing on to the grand finals or going home empty-handed.
Yeah, this is do or die for the season, right? And I know we say that and we say it lots, but that is the reality of losing this game, is that they're done playing. That there's no more effort, there's no more trying, there's no nothing. And being a conference final, yeah, it's fantastic, but I'll tell you what's better than that, being the absolute champion. Oh, little mistake there by Bell, and Zona is able to get it clear because I think Bell was kind of just, I'll just lob it this way and see how it goes. And when you're up 3 games, you can do that. But look at that. Bell waits for that ball to come in. It lands, just waits, lots of time, lots of room, lots of space. And I think this is where the Bears need to be the first to the ball and get aggressive again.
Yeah, when you're up 3 games, you can do that. Doesn't mean you should. And now they're even more punished for it. The Bears have a lead. It is an early one. It's only 1 goal, but you've got to start somewhere. Great shot, simple shot from Flips. Made it count when it needed to.
Absolutely, it did. Flips bringing it home. And the first lead for the Bears, I think, so far in this series, as they are up 1-0 with about 3.5 minutes left to go. Dart into the corner, and Bell, not biting, backs off a little bit, knowing that if they want to win, they're going to need the next one. Flips trying to use his mechanical prowess. Doesn't really pay off, and now Zona is going to have to grab this and try and clear it out. Dart there, however, Flips touches it back into his corner again, and a solid demo by Zona means that it's very likely that the Bears may get out of their end.
Oh, great beat. Oh, this one's wide open. As long as he can get his composure and that. Honestly, that was a pretty good bump, but it didn't upset Darty's momentum enough to kind of throw him out of whack. That one actually was also a shot on target, but all right, close, but no cigar. Just past the halfway mark now, still 1-0 for the Bears. That one was a very good-looking opportunity to go 2-0 up. Wasn't meant to be at that point. Let's see what the Comets can do to answer, because they unusually have yet to score a single goal in this game, and we're coming up to 3 minutes having gone past in Game 4. That is not a position
Speaking of which,
the Comets are used to, and they will take no longer than hearing me saying it to deal with that situation. And Darty puts that in, tied back up 1-1.
Well, it's obvious that they're listening to you, because they're like, oh, we knew we forgot something. Bang, in it goes. So, no, unfortunately there, I thought Flips might actually be able to stop that goal, but I think he had a bit of a backflip there. So, unfortunate, but that doesn't mean anything. The Bears can get right back into this. They just need to play a little bit more aggressively again and punish the Comets for any mistakes that they make.
Out of the corner, Darty, no boost, but no. Well, the second I say that, gets full boost, pass across to Bell. Beautifully done, textbook execution. That is how you do a passing play in 2s.
Indeed it is, and it was gorgeous. Zona knew it was coming, but just not able to get across fast enough. The problem is Zona goes any earlier than that, and he just doesn't pass the ball and scores instead.
That's the worst. That's one of the worst feelings in this game, is when you see a pass play developing and you know before the pass even happens that you're almost completely screwed. And that had to have been what Zona was feeling there. It's just caught between a rock and a hard place. So unfortunate. Comets take their lead back. They're used to leading, and they're back in their comfortable spot yet again. Just over 70 seconds left in this game. Oh, for the Bears to make an impact. An early flip by the Comets defender allows this one through. It's 2-2.
That was an absolutely unbelievable banger, almost 60 miles an hour. Flips is like, you know what? It's time for me to try again. And bingo, bango, bongo, there we go. Game is tied. 70 seconds left. Man, what a game this is turning out to be, Leachy.
Bell, and
just
wide
kidding.
Open, man. The positioning. I really want the Bears to go back and look at these replays again, because Flips just kind of opened the door to Bell, just inviting him to dive straight at the goal, going a little bit too wide, maybe expecting the player to take it up the wall instead of just keep it on the ground, but it is what it is. They took advantage. Zona high up in the air looking for a reset and can't get this one to go.
E there with a really nice play. Good bump in the air by Flips, but that doesn't necessarily take care of the ball. Zona in the right place, and Bell kind of gets hit. Zona misses the ball. Weird. Flips going to take that, put it off the wall, and see if he can get another one. He can't. Oh, just misses the net. Barely. Zona up. Ball back out to mid. Bell is on it. So is Flips. Ball back out to E. Gonna miss. Who's going to take the rebound? These guys need to give each other a little bit of space. They're getting a little too tight, the Bears.
Zona letting this one bounce. The Bears have to act now. They have 10 seconds left in their playoff careers. That one knocked up high. E sending this one down onto the nose of Flips. That one's super high. Needs to control it. Double tap, maybe. It will not happen. The Comets sweep their way through the conference finals, defeating the Bears 4-0. Some matches or some games look close. Some games looked like an absolute cakewalk for the team in pink. The Comets will be seen in the grand finals going up against their CL2's rivals. The Bears, unfortunately, just not enough steam in the tanks, steam in the tanks, gas in the tanks, whatever you want to say, to go up against their opponents. They put up as good of a fight as they could manage, but I think, quite honestly, that game 2 result felt like it was weighing way too heavily on their minds the rest of the series.
Yeah, you know what? Not being able to quite make it back in game 1, losing by what was 7 or 8 in game 2, and then just not. You're right. I agree with you. I think they just weren't quite able to recover from that. But you know what, Leachy? We still got to watch some great Rocket League being played. There were some very close games. That last game, I thought for sure the Bears were at least going to take 1, if not 2. I thought maybe the Comets in 6, but here we are. Game is finished. The Bears, unfortunately, their season done, but the Comets very excited to move on. And I'll tell you this, they looked fantastic.
Yeah, whoever they are facing off against in the grand finals, pull this VOD up and take notes, because the Comets are definitely a team to be feared. So best of luck to them. The Bears' journey comes to an end tonight, ladies and gentlemen. That is it for our second match of the evening. Comets sweeping the Bears 4-0 to get into the grand finals of this season of minor league esports. That does it for me. You will still have the pleasure of looking at and listening to Maple. Pandy is going to join us on the other side of this break, and we're taking one more step down in the divisions of minor league esports. It is going to be the Academy League. Luckily, it is no less exciting at that level. Stick around. You are not going to want to miss our final match of the evening.